Good morning, everybody. Keith here. Hey, I wanted to talk to everybody about your supposed rights and the way I look at things in regards to those rights. You'll notice on the title here of this video, I put "Quit whining about your damned rights." And what I mean is this. You want to go around and cry about your rights. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not perfect. I'm just like everybody else. I've been down this road, but I'm beyond that point. So I wanted to express to everybody else what I'm coming to realize in my own journey. And that is, if you want to cry and whine about your own goddamn rights, and then turn around and ask other people for help in trying to uphold those rights, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Because in order to have rights, you have to accept the responsibility of your own duty to your brothers and sisters all around you to uphold their rights just as much as your own. And that's part of our problem today, is everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else for this or that. And then, and it's all because of their own goddamn opinions. Opinions are man's downfall, believe me. And so my concept of my rights today, as it is, and let me explain to you real quick here my story in trying to educate myself here. I started out because I realized I have a right to travel. And in order to uphold that right, I have to take the responsibility of my own goddamn self. And so I had to force that education upon myself. And I did so by going out to the local hardware store and getting placards that say private property, bright red letters on a black background with a white edging. And I put them on my truck and my car, so that the issue would be raised not just by myself, but those that saw me traveling around with those plates. Whether that be friends who questioned me about my tactics, or the several times I had been stopped for my tactics by local policy enforcers. Several times I was stopped and they weren't even mentioned. I was given tickets for no seatbelt, speeding, insurance, things like that, but nobody questioned the plates until I got stopped by the local county sheriffs. So when it came to my rights, I had to understand my responsibility. My responsibility in educating myself, because isn't anybody else out there going to do it? And I've mentioned this before. One of the things that really irks me about my education, and the education that continues to this day in our public schools, in regards to our younger future generations, our younger future leaders who are still being indoctrinated, even though this issue of travel has been going on for decades. In our public school systems, we have our younger students, or our older students, that are being educated in driver's education classes. And not once. And I don't suspect that it happens today, just like it didn't happen when I was being educated on how to drive. Not once was the issue of your right to travel brought up. Not once. And so when we want to cry about our rights, we have to remember that it's not just our rights, but it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to uphold our duty to our brothers and sisters around us, so that we can help enforce their rights as well. Because if I expect rights from me, all of the rights that I think I deserve, whether they be the rights that somebody else has or not, I have to at the same time admit that everybody else deserves those same rights, or has those same rights inherently. And that isn't to restrict them just to the rights that I have, that I believe I have, the ones that I know I have, but to any rights they believe they have. As long as you're not infringing upon another. So in other words, if somebody else thinks they have the right to kill me, then that's obviously not going to be a right that's going to be upheld by too many people. That's a detriment to the sustaining of life. And so when we talk about our rights, we have to understand we have to get beyond that talking of our rights. We have to get beyond the whining and complaining and crying about how we're being subjected to violations of our rights. We're the ones doing it ourselves by not educating ourselves, which is our responsibility. Our responsibility. And this is one of those things that I continuously try to explain to people. We have to blame ourselves for the public education system. We have to blame ourselves for not taking upon the responsibility ourselves to educate ourselves and our posterior. If we truly took on the responsibility to educate our younger generation, then we ourselves would be making an issue of this in regards to our public education system, teaching our children to drive without expressing their right to travel, without educating them on our right to travel, on their right to travel, their right to navigate, their right to freedom of movement. So when we see it ourselves in our own lives, and we're sitting there crying about our own rights being violated, it's because we're not standing up for our brother, for our sisters, for our younger generations, for our past generations that are being abused in these godforsaken retirement homes. They call them retirement homes. What's tire? What's tirement? What's retirement? Why are we retiring them? Did they already tire? Well, if they're tired, then why aren't we helping support them? Why aren't we keeping them in our homes and helping sustain them in our own manner? Because we're too busy in the enjoyment and complacency of our own cognitive dissonance in what we find comfortable. Life isn't supposed to be comfortable. Life is supposed to be a balance. And if you can't deal with the constant oppression of life itself as a test to our own absolute power, then we don't have that power. We're already subject to that, let alone the next man. It isn't until we realize how powerful we are as life beings and how we create our surroundings by being where we wish. So if we're sitting in this pity pool of crying and whining about our rights, it's because that's what we wish. Because if we really wanted to wish, if we really wished we weren't there, we'd do something about it. And that's why I urge everybody to get off your goddamn asses and do something about it. Because I'm tired of hearing my own goddamn self whine. That's why I do all this research. I'm no longer going to sit here and spew my mouth with shit coming out. Everything I put out, I want to be able to have some kind of value to it. I want people to listen to me. I want people to hear me. I want people to hear me. I want people to hear what I feel. And that's that compassion for you. Like I say at the end of my videos, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. Because if it was just for me, I'd still be sitting there fucking whining. I'd still be crying. I'd still be working my ass off for somebody else, earning an income that is then taxed and wondering, why me? Well, it's not why me, it's why you. Because I'm so much more than just me. If I was just me, like I said, I'd still be sitting there crying. I wouldn't be doing these videos. Today, I'm more than just me. I'm all of you. Every last one of you. Why? Because I don't give a shit whether you care. I care. And that's what counts. And until you get off your ass and care, I don't care to listen to you whine. I'm going to keep putting my videos out. I'm going to keep doing my research. I'm going to keep doing my posts. I'm going to keep rebutting everything that I don't feel is true. And until somebody comes along and proves me different, I'm going to keep cracking my mouth. I'm going to keep turning pages. I'm going to keep clicking that mouse. I'm going to keep reading all the words. I'm going to keep watching all the videos. I'm going to keep paying attention to this. Everything that's around me. I'm going to put my effort. I'm going to put my effort into this. None of that stuff whines and cries about their rights. And so when it comes to me and my journey today, like I said, I'm no longer going to whine and cry. I'm going to educate. And so when it comes to other people, I'm going to feed them. I'm going to give them the nutrition that they need to grow. Because as a steward of life, I'm supposed to be a steward to all life. And just because I don't like it doesn't mean I have to be detrimental to it. Doesn't mean that I have to be disrespectful to it. I should still respect it. So whether you care about yourself or not, I don't care. I still respect you. I respect you enough, I want you to quit your goddamn crying and learn about your responsibility and duty to your fellow man to uphold your own rights so you can uphold theirs. You can't feed yourself. Without having some kind of intelligence, without having some kind of actual experience and education. So, yeah, Paul, you need to learn to set yourself free, because ain't nobody else going to take those shackles off your mind. You're the one that put them there. You're the one that lets all the fear detract from reality. So much that you refuse to go out and enjoy it. You'd rather sit. This is one of the things that bothers me the most is people want to sit on a goddamn couch, stuffing their face full of this processed foods, while they're watching some video on a screen, flat screen somewhere of somebody else's life, instead of enjoying it yourself. Instead of putting your own effort into your own life. And giving yourself sustenance. In all of its different forms. And showing that you're a true steward. As we were given that responsibility under Genesis 1, verses 26 through 28, wherein God gave man dominion over the land, the air, and the water. And that doesn't mean he's supposed to dominate over the land, air, and water. It means he's supposed to steward. It means he's supposed to take care of. It means he's supposed to step up to the responsibility of the duty of the education. Because that's one thing that doesn't come for free. You have to have experience for education. You have to know how to, if you're going to do this gardening stuff, unless you had somebody else put the information out there so you have an easy start guide, Because mankind, when we first came about this gardening technique, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We were guessing. We were guessing. And then as we did it over time and time again, it became an education through experience. So if you want to experience your couch with a bag full of chips in somebody else's life, and then cry and whine about your rights being violated, it's your own damn fault. And so when you reach out for help, you have to accept the help that's being given, whether you like it being given the way it's given or not. If you're going to ask for help, you can't be demanding in the way it's given. You can't sit there and say, well, I can't accept any help unless I get it for free. You can't sit there and say, I can't accept any help unless you do it for me. I can't accept any help unless I can just sit on my couch and not do anything while somebody else does it for me. You're never going to end up, you're never going to quit your crying about your rights being violated, because that's not going to stop your rights from being violated. The only thing that's going to stop your rights from being violated is your own goddamn education. It's your own goddamn reserve to stand up and take responsibility for those rights by enforcing them yourself for others in all due fairness. And that means you don't give a rat's ass about whether they're a midget or a giant, whether they're white or black, whether they're fat or skinny, whether they're smart or dumb, whether they're good or bad, whether they're right or left, whether they're Democrat or Republican. None of that makes a fucking bit of difference. The only goddamn thing that makes a difference is you. You're the only one that's going to change that. So when it comes to crying about your rights and how they're being violated, I suggest you people start getting real. Get real. So that's all I got for now. Hope you guys have a great day. Remember, I may not care a goddamn rat's ass about your opinion or your thoughts or anything, but I care about you enough that I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't do it. God bless. Have a great day. Love you.